Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn Left. But this episode of Turn Left was recorded live on location in Bloomington at the Senator Shelli Yoder re-election campaign kickoff party, where she outlined her vision for her second term and for the state of Indiana. But first, let's take a look at the Indiana Stonewall Democrats' 2023 endorsed candidates who became winners. Congratulations to all who put their names on the ballot. Now, let's get ready to work in 2024.
Make sure I cover before I get into some meat of what we're going to work on in the next 4 years. Number one, I want to give a shout out to these amazing individuals who came and said a few words. Senator J.D. Ford, Lauren Hallister, of course the Clausens, Nathaniel Beck, and Karen, and Chair Henry. Are you still here? I know he had to leave. But I appreciate so much you showing up tonight. But who I also appreciate showing up tonight, a couple of other individuals. First, you never know who is going to come back into your life, and it's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. So I was, for a short spell, I joined a sorority. And the fit wasn't great, but I met the most amazing women. And I have two of them. My first campaign manager, Clark Collier, who has been with me since 2012, and was my campaign manager in 2020. He's now campaign manager emeritus, always and forever. And my current campaign manager, Alex Edminster. Both of their mothers are Rex Garden sisters in the same year of college. So be kind to all you meet. You never know the generations that you're going to become really close to and do your best work with. There is Kristen Jones, who is our Senate Caucus Executive Director, who helps us every step of the way and helps us build relationships throughout the state. So thank you. And we have I always say this, your legislative assistant at the State House. Give it up for the amazing Nathaniel Massey. Every day, pretty much every day, we're talking, even Saturday and Sundays, connecting, thinking about the week ahead, and the working relationship, the commitment, the passion that he brings to fight for this district is extraordinary. Nathaniel Massey, you're the best of the best. Thank you. There are so many people here. I also just want to give a shout out to my family, my amazing spouse, Josh Perry, who snuck in. I don't know if any of my children are here. I know they're going to make it eventually. They're on their way. They're on their way. Indiana deserves leadership that is progressive, passionate, and prepared. Over the last 4 years, I have become witness to the way that Indiana is hurting people. Then we're going to talk about education. We're going to talk about the economy. We're going to talk about the environment. Healthcare. Indiana in 2022 led the way to ban healthcare. And I am very clear to say ban healthcare. Not just some. Some might say banning access to abortion care, which we did. But banning some health care is banning health care for all. Because yes, when you eliminate access to reproductive health care, you are impacting other areas, fields of medicine, whether that's cardiology, neurology. We are seeing already in a year, rural hospitals closing in Indiana, access to care diminishing in Indiana, and affordability getting worse in Indiana. And we are going to point that straight back to Senate Bill 1. Removing access to health care, banning access to health care. So what did the state of Tennessee do in 2023? They doubled down. They banned health care even more extreme. In banning health care, gender-affirming care for minors. Remember, when we ban health care for some, we are banning health care for all. I want to talk to you a little bit about education. I do serve on the Education Committee with Senator Ford, and I just heard some great news. He's joining me on the Healthcare Committee. So I served on the Healthcare Committee, and Senator Ford is going to join me in that fight. But in education, the work we have done in education, the bills that we have seen in education, since 2010, Indiana, if you speak to a Republican, they will tell you that they have made bigger investments in education than any other time in history. But they're not telling you the whole truth. Those investments are prioritizing private education. Indiana has moved to be a universal voucher state. So what does that mean? When the state of Indiana decided to be a voucher state, it was going to be based on need. Families who qualify at a certain percentage of the federal poverty level would be able to access a voucher to go to the school of their choice. School choice. Last year, the state of Indiana decided to define a family in need as a family of four earning $220,000 a year. That has completely depleted public education and has continued to erode the schools that 93% of our students attend. 93% of Hoosier children attend. And 93% of Hoosier families love their public schools. But what's interesting is I have been reading on what the priority is going to be for this next session. Reading is at the top of the list. Not universal pre-K, not changing the fact that Indiana does not require children to attend school until the age of 7, but by the age of 9, we're criticizing and shaming children and teachers that in 2 years, we don't have proficient readers. Shame on the state of Indiana. In 2 years, if we're going to get serious about addressing reading proficiency in the state of Indiana, let's pass universal pre-K. Let's make sure every child in the state of Indiana stands a chance at creating the life that he, she, they deserve. Let's talk a little bit about the economy. Okay, if you're someone who menstruates in the state of Indiana, let me tell you, You're paying a little bit extra every month to go to work, and you're taxed to go to school. The taxation on menstrual products in the state of Indiana has been deemed unconstitutional in other states. And Indiana remains only one of 21 states that continues to tax people who menstruate to go to work and to go to school. It is way beyond time that the state of Indiana remove the taxation on menstrual products for those who menstruate. The Indiana Chamber of Commerce report card just came out yesterday, and addressing the economy and abysmal wages throughout every county in Indiana, except one, is far below the national average. And people say, well, then it must be the low cost of living in Indiana. But the Indiana Chamber of Commerce debunked that and said that is no longer the case. Housing affordability is simply not happening in Indiana. We have a housing crisis in the state of Indiana. We know we have it in Monroe County, but we're not alone. It's happening throughout Indiana. Housing affordability is an economic problem. Child care access is an economic problem. And these are issues that we can address in the State House, and we're going to address them. Sending me back to the State House, we're going to be talking about it. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about the environment. Our water and our streams and rivers are the worst in the entire nation. Our air quality is the worst in the entire nation. And we did not have a climate crisis plan. We were not talking about adaptation. We refused to talk about mitigation until a group of young people got organizing and got busy. And last year, we got a hearing for their climate plan bill in the Environment Committee. And sure, say that bill did not pass, but we got what we needed done. We were able to work with the governor, and the governor created a climate task force with Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and we are putting together a plan. Thank you, Governor Holcomb. Thank you, President Biden. That money came from President Biden. So this is why we can have progressive values. This is why we need someone with passion and preparedness in the State House. Maybe you're thinking, how do you really muster up the will and the hope to keep going back to Indianapolis? Because this campaign is not a me campaign. This campaign is a we campaign. I think about each and every one of you on my drives back and forth to Indianapolis, sitting there in committee hearings, meeting with constituents, meeting with advocacy groups, listening, reading, listening to testimony. I can't tell you how hopeful I am for this state with your help, knowing that together we are influencing change. We got 2 bills passed, not 2 bills heard. We got 2 bills passed last year, and not small ones. We increased access to birth control while saving Indiana money. We lowered the hassle for our older adults in Indiana and those living with long-term disabilities to be able to access nourishing food with SNAP benefits. And we are just getting started. With your help, we are going to do a lot more progressive, exciting, visionary things in the state of Indiana. Number one, we're filing a bill to provide tax credits to new farmers to get more people into the vocation. suffering, our soil health is suffering. And so I'm filing a bill to develop a task force on agrivoltaics to study what and how Indiana can make large plantings under our large solar industrial complexes. We don't want to lose the soil health in Indiana. We are filing a bill to repeal that administration product tax. We are filing a bill to have medical freedom in Indiana, whether that is repealing SB1, repealing 480, or making sure that people have access to cannabis. It is time that we have that conversation and do something about it in the state of Indiana. One of the bills I have is actually to make sure that THC products that are legal in Indiana are put into tamper-resistant packaging, because I am hearing from folks who are in healthcare providers in emergency rooms that children are accessing these products. I filed this bill last year, it didn't get a hearing, because they're afraid to have the conversation. Every state that has legalized marijuana surrounding Indiana, it's a common sense thing. They have tamper-resistant packaging for their THC products. But Indiana, we can't even have a grown-up conversation about it because they're afraid that once they open it, they'll take away even that from Hoosiers. So this is the environment. It's like we're being held hostage. We have to stand up to these bullies. We cannot let them win. And we can get things done in the process. So, what do we need from you? If you can volunteer, there's a volunteer sign-up sheet. We will put you to work. If you want to go door to door, grab a good pair of shoes, and we're going to hit the pavement. If you can host an event, open up your space, and let's talk, and let's gather people around and have these conversations so people don't feel alone. And if you can contribute, please contribute. Every little bit counts. Every little bit counts. And we're going to build a momentum to show every Hoosier throughout the state of Indiana that progressive values is the way to go to move Indiana, not just forward today, but forward into the future. Thank you. I am so happy. I think you enjoy, eat some food, have a good drink, celebrate this exciting event, and we'll see more of you in the coming weeks and months ahead. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live, yes, all the way live from Bloomington, Indiana, where we are hanging out with Shelli Yoder and her campaign kickoff. Guys, if you tuned in a little early, you were able to hear the amazing words from Senator Shelli Yoder. Listen, we have got to send her back to the State House because, honestly, there's only 10 Democrats, y'all. So first of all, what I need you to do is find a way for yourself to donate to Shelli Yoder. Her Act Blue link is in the feed, so please go ahead and donate. Before the night is over, I'm going to interview a few guests, but she touched on a few things I think it's important that we talk about. You know, she talked about the fact that we have got to support our black farmers. Everybody wants some food to eat, but nobody wants to take care of the people that are growing the food. So I love, not only is she saying let's take care of our black farmers, but she's taking care of and highlighting that we have black farmers right here in Indiana. And of course, as everyone knows, she has been a stalwart. I mean, she's been an anchor for us in the LGBTQ plus community. She is always riding for us. And I hope you guys truly understand what a valuable senator she is to us. So as this goes on, I'm going to try to bring some folks over that we can talk to and maybe get their ideas and their feelings on what it means to send Shelli Yoder back. Yo, you know I have a superstar. First up is my guy, Senator J.D. Ford. Yeah, y'all know how I hype him. Listen, let me rap with you for just a minute. There's only 10 Democrats in the Indiana Senate. What would it mean if for some unforeseen reason we do not send Shelli Yoder back?
So we're going to send Shelli back. But that would mean that we would go down a member, right? And unfortunately, we lost a member in the 2022 election. My colleague, Mike Griffin, who is an extraordinary member. And so we just can't afford that. And so that's why I'm here in Bloomington today. I'm representing our caucus. I'm trying to let people know exactly what it would mean to me. Not only is she a colleague, but a dear friend of mine. But I'll tell you, she has been representing Bloomington, Monroe County, Ellettsville with fire and passion. She has taken, justice issues head on. She has the ability to work with colleagues. She's been there 4 years, so she's got relationships that are built. She can go over across the aisle and say, hey, I would like to attach an amendment to your bill. What do you think about that? Whereas someone new would have to start all over again. So that's why we need to send experience back to the State House. But it would be a devastating loss, quite frankly.
So talk about the relationship that you have with Shelli, not just as a colleague, but what she has meant in your life personally.
So I talked a little about this in my little bit of my speech tonight, but as our only out-serving member of the LGBTQ plus community, it's lonely there. I'm a caucus of one, and so I have to rely on my ally friends. And Shelli, so some people call themselves allies, right? But when you get behind closed doors, you get to see how they truly act. And I'll tell you, she is the first to speak up. Anytime she sees an issue that does not sit right with her, she's always asking, well, what about this? Who can we bring to the table? She's always trying to be included that way. And so, I've seen that firsthand. And we need those types of people at the State House. And on those days where bad things are happening to our community, she'll call me. And she'll just say, I'm checking on you. I know today was rough for you. And that just means the world to me, that someone else is thinking about that, So again, not only a colleague, but just an absolute dear friend. She is thoughtful. She is caring. And she's passionate, as you saw from her speech tonight. So I just love Shelli Yoder.
Well, this is the Shelli Yoder Admiration Club right here, because I'll tell you what, from the moment I met Shelli, she has been nothing but embracing and warm. And sometimes allies, they be all performative and whatnot.
I didn't say it, but you said it.
They be all performative, but one thing I can say about Shelli, it doesn't matter what community or demographic you embody, she walks in her faith and she lives the way Christ wanted us to live, which is love everybody who even, she even lets me curse every now and then. I don't suggest you do it, but she's just a genuine human. Okay, so.
Can I tell you 2 examples? Yeah, so the first example I will share with the audience is that a couple years ago, we had a divisive concepts bill that was before the state Senate. And our committee, the Education Committee, which at that time was Senator Eddie Melton, Senator Shelli Yoder, Senator Fatty Kador, and myself. So think about that. A black gentleman, our first elected Muslim to our state Senate, a college professor, and our first out-serving member. And I love our committee so much because our committee looks like Indiana. And we can speak from lived experience about these particular issues. So when they talk about divisive concepts, we're ready for them. And we read that bill. We read it front and back, up, down, sideways, backwards, whatever, right? And we were ready for Republicans. And what I remember the most about Senator Yoder was just peppering those colleagues with questions. How are you going to implement it? How are you going to enforce it? What about this definition? What about that definition? And I remember us peppering them so much that they couldn't answer our questions. And then the pressure was mounting, right? And they end up killing that bill. And Shelli Yoder was a part of that. And my second example, I talked about this in my speech tonight, was that we had the pronoun bill. And if you remember from session, this is where if a student expresses, for example, my given name is James David. So if I came to you and said, I want you to call me JD, that's an automatic, call to home, right? And so Shelli works so hard with that bill author to water it down so that way, it's still a terrible bill, but it's not as harmful as the original language. And she saw that bill, she negotiated with the bill author. And again, you're not just electing somebody who is performative, you're electing somebody who truly means what they say.
I love it. I love it. All right. So session is about to be underway in less than 3 weeks? Less than 3 weeks? Talk about what you guys are focusing on. Republicans keep talking about, this is not going to be a year where we have any hot button issues. They probably shouldn't, since they have already messed up with the abortion and attacking trans kids. I want y'all to understand they're attacking kids who just happen to be trans. But anyway, what are you guys going to be focusing in on as the session begins?
So the first thing I will say is, and folks that are watching tonight, I hope that you pay attention, that you get dialed into what's happening in your General Assembly, because I feel like if people really knew what's happening in the General Assembly, they would be outraged. They would know, and I don't use this word a lot, Dana, but there is corruption running in and out of that building left and right. If anybody's following the DCS scandal that's going on in Fort Wayne right now, where that CEO tried to run to the legislature and get immunity because he knew that his facility was his kids were being abused, and then ran to get immunity, that is disgusting. The gentleman who just took a plea deal because he was trying to get gaming legislation across the finish line in exchange for a fat salary. Dare I say corruption? And so people need to pay attention to what's going on. But our caucus, I will tell you, is committed in fighting for the people. We know that affordability is a huge issue in our state. We know that people are still getting paid $7.25 when they know you need at least $19. Now that went up. It used to be $16, but now it's $19 just to have a 2-bedroom apartment and a roof over your head. That's not utilities. That's not groceries. That's not a tank of gas, right? So our caucus, there's only 10 of us, but we are committed to understanding the real issues that Hoosiers are dealing with right now. And I think you're going to see some legislation from our caucus that's fighting for the people. And the last thing I'll say is that when I first got to the state Senate, people told me, don't worry, your vote won't matter. And I was a little peeved by that. And to some degree, they were right? Because I'm in the super minority. And I've actually kind of gone away from saying super minority because it's not super. It's excessive. What they have is an excessive majority. 40 Republicans and 10 Senate Democrats, right? But I will tell you that our caucus is committing to fighting for the people. And I think that you will see a package of bills that is fighting for the people.
I want to touch on one more thing because the Iowa caucus is around the corner. And I don't know if you saw the last presidential debate, even though, well, yeah, This year has been an unprecedented year, or it has. We haven't seen it in a long time, where unions have had a really good year in making gains for working class folks. 3 of the 4 candidates that were running literally talked about how they are doing everything they can to kill unions. They are actively working to kill and bust unions. Talk about the importance of the Democratic Party and how we are standing for unions, and how you guys in the State House, no matter who's president, you're going to work hard to protect folks' ability to bargain, collective bargain, and unionize.
Absolutely. So the first thing I will say is that we must fight for our union siblings. They have built this country with their bare hands. The things that we get to enjoy today, the work weeks that we get to enjoy today, the holidays that we get to enjoy today. And if you think about it, just one state north of us, state of Michigan, when they elected a Democratic governor, when they flipped their General Assembly, what was one of the first things that they did? They got rid of right to work, because right to work is a BS line. It is not right to work. It is taking away union rights. And that's what's happening in Indiana right now, is that you have a death by 1,000 cuts. They don't go to the microphone or a press conference and call, a press conference to talk about how they're going to take away union jobs. What they'll do is they'll slip an amendment in and people aren't paying attention. And then people are like, oh my God, how did this happen? And this happened this past session when they took away discussion rights for our teachers. And so I will be filing, and this is not public, so this is public exclusive here, is that I am filing a bill to restore those discussion rights for our teachers in our state because they deserve better.
That's why we love you, JD. You are one of my favorite humans, not just legislators, one of my favorite humans. I love that we have been watching each other throughout our careers. I think we grow with each other. And, they say iron sharpens iron. And you represent our community so very well. And I love you to pieces. And as always, Indiana's Own is always here for you, sir. I'll be watching the sessions again this year. I'll be sending you text messages of encouragement because I can't let him get down because they will try to beat you down. I cannot allow him to get beat down. Thank you so much for stopping in and chatting with me, brother. All right, go enjoy the rest of the evening. I'm going to see if I can get the Clausens to come and join me. Thanks. All right, turn left, y'all. That was Senator J.D. Ford. He gave you some nuggets to take home with you. I'm going to see if I can get Shruti. Come talk to me. So we're going to bring in one of the freshly minted Bloomington City County Councilors. I'm gonna have you step on up because you're a little smaller than me, just a little bit. And oh my, and she said she's wearing heels. All right, talk to us about what it means to have Shelli Yoder representing you here in Bloomington.
She has been such a guiding light for us, and knowing that she's in the State House fighting for us and keeping tabs on everything, doing her part. She's during some of the most critical moments and the critical legislation, she stood up for the right thing and done everything that she could to do the best she can for Monroe County, for our whole district. And so I'm just so grateful that she's there and just really, really appreciate her. And she's also such an inspiration and role model. I have to add that. She's definitely been
was she a motivating factor to get you to run for office this year?
Oh, definitely. She's one of the people who came up to me and said, this is something you should think about. And not just that this is something you should think about, but this is something that you can do. You can do it. And it's, when someone like her says something like that, right? Who's going to say no?
I tell people all the time, Shelli makes you think you can walk to the moon.
That's right. And I know if she puts her mind to it, she can definitely do that. And we can to follow.
That's it. So now, this is going to be your first year in the council. Talk about some. I mean, obviously you got to, work your way around, and it's an all Democratic council. Are you ready for long nights? I'm just gonna say, but honestly, truthfully, what are some of the things that you're looking to work on in your first year on the city council?
Well, definitely, I think coming in, people have been talking so much about how they want to see people working together and just really moving forward. And I think our first order of business is just figuring out how we can come up with the most productive ways of both not only working together, but really having people's voices heard, right? So there's a lot of people who, I'm doing pretzel duty at the same time.
You're a mother, honey. That's what happens.
That's right. So I think just making sure that everyone in the city has a voice and everyone can have their voices heard is one of the most important things. And so that's one of the things I've been working on, is trying to get people to come in, do public comment, learn about the issues, learn about how to be involved, and just participate. Like half the game is just participating in what's going on. And I'm excited. I think we have a lot of really exciting things ahead.
Oh, I'm excited for you too, especially when we can add some more diversity to any type of governing body. So I really am thankful for you for putting yourself out there. I don't even live in Bloomington, but I'm excited for Bloomington because I know that your perspective is different and you're going to bring a broader view, and I'm excited for what you do for the city.
Thank you so much. And I have to add, when I was talking about inspirations, definitely everyone, this person right here, you've been so inspiring, and just to generations of people. So I really appreciate that as well.
The check is in the mail. All right, y'all. We are down here in Bloomington at the Switch Yard. We are here for Shelli Yoder's campaign, re-election campaign kickoff. Guys, I need you to go ahead and click that donate link. Listen, it costs money to pay for campaign managers, to buy yard signs, or heck, just buy refreshments for the people who are going to knock doors for her in the coming year. So be sure to click that donate link. Find a way to help, to support her. Because you know what? When you are as powerful as a Shelli Yoder, they gonna come for you. They gonna try, but they not finna get it. They not finna get it. So I want you guys to think about how do you invest in your community. One way to do that is to invest in Shelli Yoder so that she can continue to fight for everything that we as Democrats need. And look, you don't have to live in Bloomington to support Shelli. We ain't got but 10 senators, y'all. That's all we got. All we got is 10. So can I get you to like throw a couple of dollars in the mix? That would be so incredibly wonderful, right? So incredibly wonderful. All right. So there's obviously some current events that are happening. We're going into the holiday season. I got to touch on real quick about the clown show that is the maggots in Congress. They keep trying to impeach Joe Biden for something that supposedly he had done in 2018 when he wasn't president. See, guys, these are the clowns that they're sending to Congress to govern us. And why do I bring this up? They're doing all of this because they want to do the bidding of the Orange Menace. Don't think it's for any other reason than the Orange Menace, okay? Now, I don't know if you saw my IBJ article, but I wrote about it. Senator Mike Braun, who's looking to be our governor, and Representative Jim, I forget what his name is. Up in Fort Wayne, District 3. I want to say Lucas, because he's a clown too, but that's not who I'm talking about. Jim Banks, that's his name. These two folks are so grateful for the 91 criminal charged Orange Menace, 4-time indicted, twice impeached former president of the United States to endorse them. They are following in his footsteps. And I'm going to put the warning out. I'm putting the warning out right now. Indiana could very well be ground zero to the end of our democracy if we ain't careful. I know, Dana, you hyperbole. No, because here's the deal. 45 has already said what he will and what he will not do. He's going to start jailing his enemies. This is going to be like a retribution tour. But don't think that Trump is the only one. The only way he can do the things that he's trying to do is that there's so many Republicans who are enabling him. They are enabling him. So guys, don't let Indiana be ground zero, right? Ground zero for the maggot party. I need y'all to get involved and find a way to offer some hope. And let's not elect Jim Banks or Mike Braun to any more offices, okay? Jim Banks ain't done nothing to really get promoted no way, and neither has Senator Braun. All right? All right, I'm going to see if I can get some more folks to talk to. Y'all hang tight. I'll be right back.
Today's show is brought to you by Bohm's Unique Boutique. Click on the QR code. And for all Turn Left listeners, you can get a 10% discount on your order by using the code Democrat. Be sure to visit www.bohmsuniqueboutique.com.
Guys, I have a very special guest. I don't know if y'all know it or not, but I'm kind of a nerd, right? I'm the kind of person that actually, while I'm at home, I watch the General Assembly sessions. And I have right here someone I think is incredible, because if you were to see him on the street, based on Indiana standards, you wouldn't know that he stands for the trans community. But I want to introduce you to Mr. Clausen. Him and his wife have been fighting diligently to take care and save their daughter. So tonight, I want to let you guys hear directly from a concerned parent about how these anti-trans bills and anti-trans legislation is harmful to families. Come on in here. Let's get close, guys. Let's get close. First of all, introduce yourselves and tell them exactly where you live and the name of your beautiful daughter.
Okay, I'm Nathaniel Clausen, and my pronouns are he, him.
I'm Beth Clausen. My pronouns are she, her.
And we live in Bloomington, and we are so happy to speak up for Shelli Yoder because she has been so helpful to us on the State House floor. I mean, she has really taken our story and shared it with all of the folks in the State House. And it's a really painful thing. I mean, it started out in 2022 with the sports ban. And then to have gender affirming healthcare banned in 2023, it's just been completely detrimental to our family.
It's been a really long year, or 2 years, I guess.
But what? Okay, this is the question I always have. I know I'm bold because I'm a African American lesbian who lives in Indiana, so ain't no sense of me being afraid, right? Where did you find the courage to be public about this problem of attacking our trans kids?
I think it started with our daughter, who is 11 and very extroverted and has lots of opinions and is oddly a very worldly kid without us even helping her do that. So that's part of it. The other part is we have the privilege to be safe and talk about it. We have safe jobs. We can afford to take time off of our work. We can afford to put our face out there. And so we're safer than a lot of these families that are being attacked. And so we kind of feel like it's our job, I guess.
I've had the opportunity to, like I said, watch you all give testimony. And there have been times where I had tears in my eyes listening to you beg legislators to allow you to make healthcare decisions about your daughter. When you're up giving testimony in front of the chambers, be it the House or the Senate, and you see legislators who are actively writing bad policy that are going to be harmful to your family, what goes through you as a parent? Because they always talk about parents' rights and parental choices and all of that, except for when it comes to parents of trans kids.
It angers me to no end. I mean, the idea that they can tell me as a parent that my kid can't take a hormone blocker, which has been used for decades on kids with precocious puberty, it makes me want to yell at them. And it really just kills me, because when I see like the healthcare ban, they said blockers can only not be used by trans kids. They can't be used, like they can still be used by kids with precocious puberty. I mean, it's a complete, it really just angers me to the point where like I can't even form my words right now.
That's all right.
It takes lots of drafts of writing what we're going to say, and we have to say what we want to say first, and that what won't be heard because of the anger in our voices. So definitely learn to edit each other, I think, unfortunately.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because what does it mean to have a partner who is just as committed as you are to seeing and raising your child the same way? Because I mean, listen, my mom and dad were together till death did them part, but they didn't always agree on everything, right? Right, exactly. But what does it mean to be in lockstep with this?
It makes it so much easier, We balance each other really well. He is very pragmatic and wants to fix the things, and I'm the worrier, and so together we are much stronger than we're apart, and I don't know how I would do it without him.
It's one of those where even tonight, writing our introduction for Shelli, like I threw a bunch of things on the page, and her words were so much better than what I put down that we ended up using most of what she said. And we make a really good team, and I'm just really proud to be her husband.
As someone who came out to her parents, my mother was born in 1929 and my father was born in 1932. And so, oh my God, that's got to be a long time ago. But when I came out to my mom, she said, Dana, I may not like it or even understand it, but you are my baby and I love you. And that's why I get so emotional, because I see Catherine and James, my parents, and both of you. And so thank you from the bottom of a queer kid's heart that you are loving on your daughter more than anything else. I was able to go out into the world and just be my full and total authentic self, because I knew in the end my parents loved me for me. The suicide rate among our LGBTQ plus youth is exceedingly high. The homelessness in our community is exceedingly high. I sit on the board of Trinity Haven, which is the state's only LGBTQ plus affirming residence for youth who are at risk of homelessness. And when I meet parents, and I'm trying not to cry, when I meet parents who are as committed to their child as my parents were to me, I applaud you. You don't need things because you're like, I'm the mom and dad. We're parents. But I've seen so many parents do the opposite. And so I thank you, and the whole queer community thanks you for being visible and fighting for your daughter publicly.
Thank you so much. And, you know, it's one of those where my daughter has taught us so much, even about ourselves. And it's one of those where, because of her, we have become advocates. And like, I am the director of transgender advocacy for Spencer Pride. Beth is a member of the Stonewall Democrats. So it's one of those where we, like, our daughter has taught us that we have to make the world a better place for her.
Okay, see, I forgot I was supposed to be doing interviews. Guys, thank you so much for taking time to come chat with me and my Turn Left listeners. Your voice is so powerful. I hope I don't have to see you on the State House floor this year. Hopefully that there's no junk coming out that we got to worry about. But in the meantime, thank you so much, and I'm hugging y'all and loving on y'all and sending y'all some positive energy. Thank you so very much. I'm just a chick with a big mouth. That's it. Thank you. I got a hug. I got a hug. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Guys, this is why Turn Left is here, so we can bring you the stories that matter and bring you the information that you need about who these candidates are. All right, I'm going to go see if I can pull over. Can you get your wife for me? Yes. I'm going to see if I can get the fabulous Shelli Yoder to come and talk to us. All right, I'm going to give you another word from my sponsor. Hang on a second.
Today's show is brought to you by Bohm's Unique Boutique. Click on the QR code. And for all Turn Left listeners, you can get a 10% discount on your order by using the code Democrat. Be sure to visit www.bohmsuniqueboutique.com.
All right. Oh, the yellow is the yellow ain't coming up so great, but that's okay. Hey, we are here with the star of the show tonight. No. Let me tell you. First of all, you see her and you're like, oh my God, she's aesthetically beautiful. Like, you see her and you're like, oh my God, she's amazingly beautiful. But then you realize that's just the draw, like a moth to a flame. It just draws people to you first. And then they get a chance to talk to you. And then they get the chance to see your heart and what's inside of you. Shelli Yoder, you have been an amazing inspiration to not just me, but so many humans in our state. Congratulations on this fabulous re-election kickoff.
Thank you.
And I got to ask one question. Why are you running for re-election?
Because to connect it with what you just said, every single Hoosier deserves the right to be seen, to be heard, to be listened to be believed. And that certainly is not how many individuals in Indiana are feeling. I'm running again because we have work still to do when it comes to reproductive freedom, when it comes to protecting our LGBTQ trans neighbors, children, siblings, fellow Hoosiers, when it comes to addressing racism that prevails in this state today. I mean, when we look at every single piece of legislation, I work hard to look through a lens of Indiana's most vulnerable. And that work is never ending. I mean, we're always going to have to be fighting to give that voice and to let the most vulnerable be seen and heard and have rights. But we have work to do, whether it's food justice, cleaning up our water and cleaning up our air, following through with a climate plan, making sure that we are addressing childcare, housing affordability, and always the economy, making sure it is accessible to all.
You know, one of the things that I love about you is that you are authentically you when it comes to your spirituality and your faith. But you're also as unwavering to our LGBTQ plus community. How does your faith allow you to look out for us in the queer community?
It is because of my faith. And because I'm a decent human being, love. I mean,
You say that, but it ain't a whole lot out there.
but it doesn't. It's not. I said originally it's because of my faith I do what I do, and my faith does bring hope. It informs how I live. It informs decisions I make. But I make a choice to love, accept, see, hear people, all people. People just want a chance to be themselves, to flourish, to thrive. We should want that for every Hoosier, because when every person living in Indiana feels that empowerment, we're a better Indiana because of it. I've been talking a lot tonight about how Indiana was the first state in the nation to, I just call it a ban on healthcare. It's a ban on healthcare. It might be banning access to abortion care, but when we start deciding what care is available to people, that's really impacting healthcare across the board. So in 2022, we banned healthcare, and in 2023, we doubled down and we banned healthcare, gender-affirming healthcare for minors. Indiana's healthcare system is hurting, and banning healthcare is certainly not the answer.
You bring up women's reproductive health care, persons' reproductive health care. You saw what was happening in Texas, and the poor lady, had a doctor, a whole medical physician who went to school to learn how to be an OBGYN, say, hey, this is what's happening to your unborn child. And they made a decision between the patient and the doctor. And then a bunch of old white men decided that they knew more or better than the physician. It's only a matter of time before this happens in Indiana. How do we try to put a stopgap in what's surely to come down the pike?
We need to make sure that the Attorney General in Indiana, Todd Rokita, who joined a lawsuit requiring the federal government to have local governments reveal private health records of people who are seeking care outside of the state of Indiana. So we need to make sure that...
What happened to HIPAA?
Exactly. What happened to HIPAA? Well, he signed this, but I don't know where that lawsuit is, but it informed us all the extreme to which this current state of the Republican Party is in the state of Indiana. We have an unchecked access to power currently, and it is having devastating impacts on our economy, on our public education system, on healthcare, on the environment. And we cannot give up hope. Hope is our superpower. We have to continue to march forward with courage and bravery to do what we know is right, and that is to make sure that every Hoosier feels seen, heard, and believed in the state of Indiana.
You know, I always tell people, you have so much faith and hope. And whenever I talk, you inspire me. If you told me I could walk to the moon, I would probably believe you. Nah, I don't know. Where? And you guys get beat down so hard. And you, thank you for allowing me to send you text messages in the middle of testimonies. And I'm a junkie, you know me. But where does that, when you're having a hard day with these guys and they're still your colleagues, how do you get up the next morning and still continue to be positive like that?
Because I keep the constituents in my district in my heart, always on my mind. I'm traveling back and forth, staying connected, listening to stories, hearing how these pieces of legislation impact families, impact individuals. Yes, there are days that are dark and hard. There are far more days that are hopeful, that are filled with light, because I get to come home. I get to come back and return to the constituents in which I am serving and say, how can I serve you even better? That is empowering, and it's a reminder that we are not alone. There are more of us. American democracy is hard work. And if you're not working hard to protect it, we will lose it. So every single individual has to find their way to engage. The low bar is voting.
That's the least you can do.
That's the least you can do. But you have to vote. You have to get out there and vote. And then the next, get involved with a campaign. Run as a candidate. We need candidates. So if you're listening right now, I want you to think about what is the role in your community that you can run and win. Winning looks different in every different situation, but where you can run and win and serve your community.
I love it. All right, let's look forward. Yes, we have re-election coming up in November, but you still have a General Assembly session coming up in January. What are you guys planning on bringing forward? What are some bills that we should be keeping our eye out on and advocating for that you plan to introduce in this next General Assembly session?
Well, first and foremost, the leadership of the Republican Party said that this next session is going to be short, and we're going to focus on truancy in school, and we're going to focus on fixing mistakes in the budget. Well, I've got a big, easy answer. That is, stop taxing people who menstruate from going to school and to work. And that is, when we tax menstrual products, the majority of states in the United States have recognized that taxing menstrual products is unconstitutional. The state of Indiana continues to do this unconstitutional practice and tax products that people who menstruate absolutely need in order to go to school and work. We are not asking for free products. We are asking that the state of Indiana not build an economy off of menstrual blood.
All right. You know what? I'm already excited. I cannot wait to watch you this session. I know that you are going to win your re-election. I have nothing but faith in you. I believe in you. I believe what you bring to our state house is invaluable. I believe what you bring to the people of the state of Indiana is invaluable. Anyone who ever has an opportunity to talk to you one time leaves better than when they showed up. So I want to thank you for being my friend. I want to thank you for allowing me to podcast and stream this information out to the people. You are a friend to us. You are not performative. You believe in diversity, not for diversity's sake, but just to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table. I am humbled in your presence, and I am so grateful that I get to know you.
You are Indiana's own Dana Black, but you're my own friend, and I am so proud to know you. And I thank you for bringing this important information into everyone's homes, their cars, maybe in their earbuds, every single week. It's extraordinary. Thank you. It's a service to this state, and you have and continue to touch my life.
I love you. You know what, guys? I wanted to get down here and make sure.
It looks like velvet.
There you go. There you go. I wanted to get down here because I believe in who she is. And sometimes, you got to just show up for people. The other thing is, Indiana's own Turn Left Black Pro Studios, we are mobile. And we can come to you, right? We can do all kind of amazing things to help you out. So if you want Indiana's own to come visit you, scan my QR code and let me come holler and do some things for you. Also, I have included her link, her Act Blue link. Please, please, please donate to her campaign. $5. In fact, become a monthly recurring donor. $10 a month. I promise you, it'll make all the difference in the world. If you want to help out any way you can, please. I know, you look amazing. All right, guys. Indiana's own Dana Black, we're going to take off for the rest of the year. But I've already got January 4th full of candidates, and I'll be booking every week after that. But you guys enjoy the holidays. Enjoy your family. To all my Muslim and Jewish brothers and sisters, I love you. I care about your existence, and I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to fight like hell so you can pray exactly the way you want to. All this hate, everybody needs to start with love. Put love in your heart so you can stop being angry at things that you don't understand over somebody that's different than you. Follow Shelli Yoder's lead, because I promise you will have a happier life if you do that. In the meantime, I will holler at y'all next time. Peace. Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.